You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Job numbers came out today, and even though 225,000 new jobs were created in January, the unemployment rate edged up to 3.6% from a 50-year low of 3.5% as more people enter the labor force in search of work. That's the national story. Now for the reality of black unemployment. The black unemployment rate has gone up to 6.0%. The participation rate has dropped down to 62.6%, as you see in these charts here. And that's not what Donald Trump said in his State of the Union address on Tuesday.
The unemployment rate for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Asian Americans has reached the lowest levels in history. African American youth unemployment has reached an all-time low.
Joining me right now is Gbenga Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress. Doc, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right, so let's get right to it. Donald Trump loves to keep talking about how he's just been so amazing for black people. First of all, the unemployment rate of black people are double that of whites. But him and his supporters have refused to acknowledge that it's been going up, especially among black men. Please break it down for us.
So one of the things we've looked at is since October of last year, it's been trending upward, almost half a percentage point up. And while some of it's been because of an increase, more people joining the labor force participation has been going up. We saw this job numbers that it's actually dropped. And so it doesn't make sense that if the labor force participation rate dropped, that the unemployment rate still continues to go up. And so that gives us a concern.
So again, you're saying that black unemployment has been trending up since October.
Right. So half a percentage point up.
So when he keeps running around talking about how well black people are doing and how it's at its lowest, they're in denial about the last 5 or 6 months.
They are. But what's actually more concerning is that even if it's, in October, it was at 5.5%, which was the lowest. But if you look at when the white unemployment rate was 5.5%, that was back in December of 2013. And no one was talking about how great it was then. So it's like they're telling us that black people should be happy with the unemployment rate over 5% when other groups have unemployment rates below 4%, and that's consistently below 4%.
All right, so let's talk specifically. Let's break it down when it comes to what are the numbers looking like for black men, for black women, and then for black teenagers.
So for black men and black women, it's black men have a higher unemployment rate and consistently upwards of 5.8%, sometimes up to 6%. Black women have actually participated a lot more, so their unemployment rates are a lot lower. So sometimes last year, it actually got below 5%, but it's actually been going back up. But then for black youth, it's really high. It's upwards of 20%. Sometimes it goes down to 15%, but for black youth, it is really high. So while if you look at over a long period of time that it might be low, it's still relative to any other group really high and something that's concerning and something that should concern the administration.
So you talk about those numbers there. Now, Donald Trump also claimed in his report, in his speech, about wages and how wages are going up as well. Are we seeing that for African Americans?
So we are seeing wage growth for African Americans, but one of the things we have to think about is how is wage growth compared to other groups? And so we look at wage growth has been going up, but it's been going up at the lower end of distribution, but that's not because of federal policy. That's what's happening is that over the last number of years, a number of states have been raising their minimum wages, and that's had a positive impact on low-end distribution, and especially for African Americans.
All right, what else should we know about the unemployment numbers that the administration is not telling us?
Well, one of the things we have to look at is we look at the ratio of basically the gap and look at the ratio of the black unemployment rate to the white unemployment rate. And since the number's been recorded since the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it's always been double the rate. So you go back from January 1972, basically almost 50 years later, that has always still been double, and that's never closed. And so when we talk about something to be honoring or saying that's something to celebrate, the fact that black unemployment rate's always been double the white unemployment rate and has never closed is very concerning, and it's not something to celebrate and should be the focus of policy.
All right, then. All right, sir. Well, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us. Look, this is why you got to have real information as opposed to the lies that he tells. So, Gbenga Ajilore, senior economist for the Center for American Progress. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I want to go to my panel right now. Teresa Lundy, principal founder of TML Communications, joins me via Skype. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA, and Joseph Williams, senior editor, U.S. News and World Report. Joseph, the problem I have with all of these people, or these analysis of as a State of the Union, is they got so caught up in the hype, in the optics, as opposed to what he was actually saying. We broke it down on Wednesday, all the lies he told. He keeps lying about black unemployment rate.
Well, you repeat a lie and people believe that it's true. And that's part of the problem, is that you have so many of the president's misstatements. I mean, lies. You know, he's not telling the truth about a lot of things. And one of the things that he's not telling the truth is about the state of Black America. And in him touting the unemployment numbers, it's persistently been double the white unemployment rate for years. And for him to say that it's at record low, that doesn't tell you the whole truth. It doesn't even tell you part of the truth. And not only is unemployment double the white community, wage growth is half of the white community, and for the economic gap, we still haven't recovered from the Great Recession. Housing for African Americans is still down. Wealth for African Americans is still down. And the people that would benefit the most from a minimum wage increase from $7 in the federal level to $15, guess who? Black people. Because African Americans tend to work in lower wage jobs, tend to work in hourly jobs, and tend to work in jobs that don't have that much of an impact on the movement of unemployment.
Teresa, the fact that it's been trending up since October says that they deliberately lied in his speech on Tuesday.
And the even better perception was the entire State of the Union audience standing up and clapping like no one did the research. So I think, obviously there's a problem there where the reports are not being sent across proper networks. But for, Trump to get these direct statements, knowing that, there are a lot of missing particular criteria that are happening where, African Americans aren't being asked about salary wages. They're literally on the hourly wage, which means, it might not be $7.25, but it could be $9 an hour. And even with those numbers, it still doesn't amount to the nationwide low record numbers that he produced during the summit. So I was kind of actually with Nancy Pelosi when she tore up those papers of his speech, because, if we're just not going to talk about truth and numbers, then what are you really saying to the American people?
I mean, it's real simple. We should be looking at what are the additional policies that are in place at the Department of Labor and the Department of Commerce. If you say that you are this genius when it comes to creating jobs, to making the economy work, and you know that this disparity has existed in the past and is now growing again, what are you doing to address that? We also know that when it comes to wealth in our country, that we actually have the lowest home ownership for African Americans in the past 50 years. So if you can't have a job that you can actually make enough money to be able to have an apartment or to even own a home, then what does that really say about how you are moving forward with your economy?
There's a difference between having a job and having a good job.
Right.
But see, to me though, that's where, if you're the Democratic presidential candidate, this is where you need to be hitting him on. Mm-hmm. You need to be saying jobs numbers came out. Oh, yeah, but he's saying this. No, this is the actual truth here. And again, I think they just been just too timid on being very specific when it comes to the lies that he keeps telling. And to me, that's what they actually have to do now. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Are you looking to enhance your leadership or that of your team in 2020? Well, you might want to join Dr. Jackie Hood Martin's newest online course and mastermind group, Successful People Think. She will be your guide as you learn timeless leadership principles to apply to daily living. Of course, she's a certified John Maxwell instructor, and so you want to take advantage of this. The offer expires February 28th. To register or to start the online course today, go to www.live2lead.com/Leesburg, right here. Live, the number 2, lead, LEAD.com/Leesburg. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.